The No Nonsense Roundtable. It's a weekly show broadcast on Rochester, New York's 50,000-watt iHeart radio station, News Radio Wham 1180. The host, Dom Geneva, interviews guests from all walks of life, all with amazing stories to tell. What you are about to hear is a recording of a previous broadcast with limited commercials. Now, here's host, Dom Geneva.
Well, welcome everybody to another edition of your No Nonsense Roundtable. I'm Dom Geneva, your host every week at 10 o'clock right here, and all the past shows can be found, as I like to remind you, on nononsenseroundtable.com. So today I have somebody I will almost guarantee that you don't know, but you should know because he has a very interesting story. He has a very varied career. He's very creative. His name is Michael Cunningham. And welcome to the studio, Mike.
Thank you, Dom. It's nice to be here. Appreciate it.
So how would you describe yourself?
Oh, I am someone who has a lot of dreams, somebody who dabbles in a lot of stuff. I love music. I did stand-up comedy. I'm a writer. I've written some screenplays, one which we're going to talk about today. And I love to laugh, and I don't know. It's hard. When you're put on the spot like that.
Let's catch people quickly with this, because sometimes people tune in for 45 seconds. They go, well, I don't know if I've got to. You have something coming up in the fall. A production that you were the screenwriter for, and let's engage people with just enough stuff so they stay listening, and we can tell them about it later. How about that?
Yes, that's good. Because
yeah.
The rest of the story might not be as great. So I wrote a screenplay called The Christmas Letter, and it's based on a relationship I had with he's a good friend of mine in England, but I always said that we lived on the opposite ends of the socioeconomic spectrum. And he would send me this Christmas letter every year that was, really way over the top, and I could never, I could never live up to it, because he'd say, he was, his daughter was hanging out with Princess Beatrice, and I'd write back, I went to Wegmans today, what I mean? And that was and so I thought to myself, it would be kind of a fun story to have a guy who's trying to outdo this guy's Christmas letter with, and so he cashes out he loses his job, then he cashes out his 401k to pay for all the things he's going to do to write a better Christmas letter. Yeah. Okay,
so we're teasing them. We're teasing them just enough here. So tell me the principal actors in this, and then we'll get on to other stuff.
Well, the principal actor, you won't know initially. His name is Angus Benfield. He's from Australia. He's the head of this production company called Lama Entertainment. And he is the lead character, Joe Michaels. And but we also feature in this film the comedy icons Chevy Chase, Brian Doyle Murray, and Randy Quaid, which was quite a coup that we managed to get them into this film, which is still kind of a dream, and I'm scratching my head that this even happened.
So this is really, really cool. This is cool. Yeah. This is why people should know you. This is fun.
It's not everyone can say they got a film that they wrote with Chevy Chase and Randy Quaid and Brian Doyle Murray. So these guys, anyone who watched Christmas Vacation will look forward to this, and we've got a lot of heat on it because of that. So.
Yeah, and you're a Rochester guy.
Yeah, I'm originally from a little town called Ilion in east of Utica. Remington Arms was located. They sadly shut down. Well, some people wouldn't say sadly, but depends where you stand. Depends where you stand on the issue.
Oh my God, we have to parse everything now.
Yeah, right. No, isn't that true?
They made guns. Well, guns might be good.
No,
guns might be bad. You have to. Yeah,
I know. But no, then I moved. I went to St. John Fisher and never left after '84. Now I live in Webster with my family.
Okay, so just tell me about your childhood. What I love the question. What did you want to do when you were 10 years old?
Baseball. That's all I did. Yeah. I was a big Bud Harrelson fan. He was the shortstop for the New York Mets.
Okay.
Where we grew up, for some reason, we were a test market for cable, and so we got all the New York channels. Got WNEW, WPIX, WOR, and WOR was who carried all the Mets games. And we watched all the Mets games and got to watch the World Series 1969 and see the whole thing live.
Oh yeah.
And so that's all I did in the backyard. My brother and I would throw balls at each other's feet, and to see who could respond quicker. And so I loved playing baseball. And there was a gentleman from my hometown. His name was Charles Boots Day. He played for the Expos, and he was sort of our local hero. And so that was at baseball at the age of 10. That's all I did. I played morning, noon, and night, and practiced sliding in our living room on our shag carpet. And
yeah, Well, the Mets. I mean, I'll show you how old I was. I was there when the Mets, had their first game, and it was, it was great. But you didn't go see the Mets for the baseball.
No, you didn't. Right.
No, if you liked you were there to be outside. You see Casey Stengel and Yogi Berra, but the baseball.
Or good hot dogs at Chevy.
Yeah. That's about it. So, what was your major when you were in college?
Communications and marketing, yeah.
Okay, so you followed, relatively.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so what was your first job?
First job was right out of school at the former WHFM 99 on East Avenue. They used to be right next door to HAM.
Okay.
And so we were upstairs above a little market, and I used to work 11 to 6 a.m. shift.
11 to 6 a.m.?
Yeah, you get this guy would call me up in the middle of the night. It was kind of, I kind of felt for a lot of the people there. Most people calling in at that time are pretty lonely folks, and this guy, they really were. This guy would call me up and give like he'd want to do the sports report. So he'd get on, and I just set the phone down. And he would just do a whole sports report. And then one day he told me he was going to be on Bowling for Dollars when that was on TV. And he goes, "Well, yeah, I'm going to be on Bowling." I said, "Okay." Just in the back of my head that day, I went home and I thought, "Oh, I think that's on. I'm going to check." And there he was. I recognized his voice. And it was like he looked like a perfectly normal guy, but boy, on the when you got him on the phone, everyone was. It was just I mean, as you know, I mean, you get sometimes the calls you get are out there, but I really enjoyed it. But it was tough because I lived out in Fairport and I didn't have a car at the time, and so I had to get to the city every night, and that was difficult. I'd ride my bike to Fisher and catch a bus from Fisher and.
Well, that's why I don't do calls on this show because you don't know where they're going. I had Ferdinand J on the show one day, and we were doing at the point in time we were recording from my studio here, and somebody calls in and says, "I want to talk to Ferdinand J because I used to babysit his kids," and it's that's nice, but that's not all that interesting. You have to be careful with that stuff.
I'm not going to hand out his address or his home phone. Right. And I think he needs babysitting tomorrow.
Well, 11 to 6. I mean, you're sleeping during the day.
Oh, it was awful.
It's got to be awful.
I didn't like it at all. No, I didn't like those hours, and so I managed to make my way into advertising. I worked at Hutchins Young and Rubicam, which used to be in Midtown.
Oh,
so I was only there a couple of years, and then I got into another ad agency, finally as a copywriter, because I was kind of working as an account assistant at the time.
Yeah,
worked on Kodak like everyone did, Mobile Chemical, and I can't even remember half of them, but yeah.
We have that in common. I did a lot of copywriting for my dealership. Also, I wrote an ad to meet Nita. I mean, she's not embarrassed by that. It was before Match.com, and I wrote an ad, like geeky guy looking for an intelligent, self-assured woman. She answered, and cool. I was very lucky.
I should have done that.
It worked out. But that was my copywriting, and I told people at my daughter's wedding reception, I said, if I didn't know how to write an ad, you wouldn't be here.
My words gave birth to you. Well, it's not too far off for me though, meeting my wife, because I wrote a radio spot for what used to be Rochester Tell, and she thought it was hilarious. I used to love this guy who wrote. I can't think of his name. He was a really famous. Ad writer in California, and he wrote some great stuff. I can't think of his name. He was well known, and I can't remember. Anyway, so I wrote this radio spot. It was all alliteration, and it was like, "Hello, Bud, Bill, ready for the bay? Let's meet at the bungalow. Yeah. Bob's got the boat." Something.
Oh, you still remember that?
Yeah, I still remember. Yeah. Anyway, so she thought the end of it was funny, and so she always wondered who wrote it, and then she ended up working. My sister worked at another ad agency in town called Stites and Roding. Some of the nicest people I ever met. And Jan ended up getting a job there, and that's how I got to meet Jan. She remembered the spot.
Well, we were talking about that before the show, the incredible randomness of life. If you didn't write that ad, or the ad was more crappy than then your children wouldn't be here.
Yeah, he wrote that garbage.
Yeah. I understand. Well, we're about ready to head into our first break, and like I like to remind people, we'll see you after the break.
See ya.
This is Dom from my friends at Jack Greco Furniture. You drive your car, you live with your furniture. That's why Nita and I buy our furniture locally from Jack Greco. Hey, lots of old name furniture manufacturers switch to mass production, producing their furniture who knows where. Why settle for that? Jack has quality pieces made by true craftsmen, and if you need a custom piece, Jack can do that for you too. The season's upon us. Jack has quality outdoor furniture you won't find anywhere else. Go to jackgreco.com. This is Dom for my friend John McClurk at McClurk Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and McClurk Chevrolet in Perry, New York. Hey, the buds are coming out on the trees. Everybody likes a nice ride. Take a ride down to McClurk in Perry and see the great deals that he has on Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram vehicles and Chevy trucks. I tell you, John McClurk does business the old-fashioned way. He takes care of you. No nonsense. And used cars? He's got great used cars. See him today or go to McClurk Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or McClurk Chevrolet. Well, welcome back. We're talking to Mike Cunningham, who is author, a former stand-up comedian, a guy in radio for a long time. We were talking about that. We're talking about radio voices. We talk about that all the time. There's the medium. I think, personally speaking, I have that like medium radio voice because there's the car dealer one. Hey, and then there's the NPR one. Right.
You know,
like they're frightening you or something.
And there's the Wheel of Fortune guy. $10,000.
Yeah. How much do those guys get paid for that? You know, Johnny Olsen stuff.
What, in front of a mic, and that's what a gig. Right?
Yeah. Well, you take a look at guys that morph. You know, a lot of people morph to. You know, look at Drew Carey.
Right.
Oh, okay. He's got a lifetime
TV
gig.
show, and then he had that sitcom, and then now he's doing that. You know,
well, I always wanted to do stand up. I do a little bit of my at my Christmas show, my live Christmas show. But the thing that amazes me, you got to answer this question for me, is that you have to get up in front of an audience with the same jokes over and over and over again and make them sound like you just thought of it or it's fresh or that's got to be difficult.
It was. I mean, I loved it. I mean, but it was, like I said, it was the thing about stand-up comedy. I got greedy for laughs. I got greedy for wanting to try new stuff out, which I learned you couldn't really always do because you weren't, you didn't try it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So you had to try it out somewhere. I do it on the open mic nights, but then if I had any sort of gigs or anything where I'm actually, one of the guys or gals on stage that night, for a regular show, I incorporate it. But yeah, it's just a lot of just sort of, observation, and everything sort of kind of coalesces over time, and you say it over and over. You begin to kind of have a line, a shtick, like you say, that kind of comes right to you automatically. But getting up in front of 300 people or whatever is I mean, every single time was really butterflies, nerve-wracking. But the only time I ever had a joke, I had a time where I really was like, crap. Well, I shouldn't say.
Oh, that's okay.
Crapping myself. Yeah. But I remember I completely lost my place. And all I heard was pin drop silent, and all I heard was this woman's voice. She goes, "Oh." in the background, like, and I was like, and it's just like, and then finally, but then I think the craziest place I ever did a routine was at the former Griffiths Air Force Base. They had the Officers Club, and it was like 300-400 guys in flight suits, and most of them were drunk at the time. And I thought, if we have to scramble, we're screwed.
Is it better when people are drunk or worse than people, generally speaking?
You're doing well if they're not drunk.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, you get bigger laughs, I think, when everyone's kind of lubricated. But I actually, the last show I ever did was at Cornell University, and they had this thing called the Alcohol Awareness Weekend. And of course, you and I come from a different period where alcohol on campus was fairly common. Oh, yeah. Today it's frowned upon mostly, I would say. And whatever, and that was just a different era. It was the Animal House era. But the thing of it was, they had this Alcohol Awareness Weekend. It was like everyone on a college campus was dry as a bone. So I did well there, but that was a real test because I was like, I'd always just done the club thing, and everyone was always drinking.
So how much would you get for a show? I mean, you're talking to 200-300 people. I mean,
maybe $300. It wasn't a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot. But it was but it was for 20 minutes. I mean, you can't. But I really only did it for 4 years on and off. It was, again, everything I've done has been kind of like testing the waters. If it was radio, I tested the waters. I really wasn't on that long. I was on a year. So that was my experience on radio. But I always did. I always wrote my own stuff, and I did stand up for 4 years on and off, and then the advertising thing was sustained us over the years.
All right, so tell me a joke.
Oh boy. Well, let me think.
How's that for a fastball?
Oh boy, which one did I usually use? Let's see. Okay, so you guys caught me off guard. Oh, yeah, exactly. That's it. That's the deer in the headlight thing. No, I don't know. No, okay. Speaking of deer, there was actually, and this is really visual, but I did this joke about. I actually was watching the television with my dad. I actually saw this. It was the Nashville network at the time. And they had this hunter come on. He was very serious. He goes, "Those of you wearing ball caps," and he took his hat and he goes, "Always wear them to the side like this. This way the deer won't think you're looking at him." And I mimic a deer kind of chewing his cud, kind of, and he goes, and I have the deer look over his shoulder and he goes, "He ain't looking at me." And boom. Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah, so that was fun. Yeah.
So it was more that than a guy walks into a bar.
Yeah. It was observational stuff. I always said like people when they get the wind knocked out of them, they're like, but they always manage to say, "I can't breathe." So it's just sort of like managed to squeak it out still.
Well, I want to start talking about your writing in a second, but before that, I want to stay on this comedy thing, the stand-up thing. So yeah, I can't conceive of what that would be like. I could get up in front of somebody, like once a year or whatever, but we're repeating it over and over and over again. Now, I mean, there's got to be a time that you go and you're feeling terrible. You got stomach cramps and you got
or you're at the urinal when they call your name to come on stage.
That's what's happened you had Taco Bell. It's just starting to get to you, and you got to go on anyway, or the cat died. That night you got to go on anyway. That's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I've done it on and off for 4 years, and that's been my career. I know guys, really really good guys in town who've been doing it since I was doing it. We all started together. I can name a couple guys, Dan Viola and Ralph Teta, these two gentlemen, really nice guys, and they have been doing it for 30 odd years, and they make a living off of it. But it's I can't speak for them, but I know it's a tough gig, and unless you can really hit it big somewhere. But I can't say. I can honestly say if I had stuck with it, I think I might have done well with it. It was just I couldn't.
So how did you get to? I want to be a screenwriter, and the Angels. Screenwriter. Or was this something that you were doing?
Well, I was in the job of a copywriter, as you know, or at least in my realm, the deadlines every single day were brutal. And after a while, I just was getting burned out because you have to come up with new ideas every day. I mean, nobody has a fresh idea every day. Next thing you know, you're saying spring into savings, fall into savings, all that stuff.
Right.
And all that kind of stuff. And I was really getting burned out, and I was looking for a way out. And I had an idea for a screenplay on another one. There's a long story behind that one. Long story short, the screenplay was stolen, and I talked to 6 Los Angeles lawyers, and they said, writers never win these things. Move on, write something else.
Wow.
So, but anyway, no, it started with a conversation at the dinner table, Thanksgiving, with my parents. Both my parents were teachers. My dad was an American history teacher, and this story was 1995. I wrote it. Well, it was actually 94 when I thought about it, but it was just ultimately the idea was I wanted to get out of what I was doing, and I was thinking, I had all these big dreams, like if I sell one screenplay, oh yeah. I'm not getting. You're talking to a guy. He's giving me the finger here. And
I'm not giving you the finger. Okay, ladies.
I'm sorry. I don't get the cues. I don't get the cues sometimes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you what just happened there. When we have 1 minute left, I hold up my index finger. And
that's what that means.
I coach.
I forgot.
I coach my guest, and I go, when I put the finger, that means we have 1 minute left, and most people just stop.
This is behind the scenes.
I warned you. I warned you what that meant, and now we just wasted that whole minute explaining why you hesitated.
And we'll be right back.
I'll be right. Yes. Why don't you take us out into the news hour? Go ahead.
Have yourself a wonderful time listening to the news. Thank you very much. I got nothing.
I concur. And now here's co-founder of the Rascals, inductee of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Rochester guy Gene Cornish to say a word about his favorite team.
The Red Wings rock. I've been a fan since I was a kid in my bedroom hearing the cheers from Silver Stadium. Memories I will never forget. Here's what's happening this week.
The Wings are home this weekend. Friday is our salute to the Negro Leagues with an appearance by Denard Span and fireworks. Saturday has a cap giveaway and fireworks. Father's Day features a baseball giveaway and play catch with Dad on the field postgame. For tickets, visit redwingsbaseball.com.
Well, welcome back. You're listening to the No Nonsense Roundtable. After the news and the report from the Red Wings, and we're here with Michael Cunningham, and he accused me before of giving him the finger, which wasn't the finger, it was the index finger, saying that we had a minute left to record, and he totally ignored that. Although there is a mythical town that I invented that I gave you.
See?
It's a good lead in. Yeah, it helped me into Middle Finger Lake. So if you go onto nononsenseroundtable.com, you can hear or read, more accurately, the story of Middle Finger Lake, which is my town that I invented, and we are about to publish some more stories and some merch on that Middle Finger Lake, where life is perfect but could always be better. Not too many people remember the day of old radio. Of course, I had a drafting teacher and mechanical drawing teacher in high school. He used to play the old radio shows while we were doing our work, and that stuff is great. That old stuff, and I love. A lot of people don't remember Garrison Keillor from years ago with Lake Wobegon. He invented this whole place. I don't know, that stuff, and talking about towns and people and stuff. You got to be more careful these days because people get so offended by everything. So.
I talk a lot, so that's a real hazard. By the way, I want to mention there is no round table in here.
No, there is.
It's right next to me. There. Actually, that's very small. That's
Well, I didn't say it's big. Did I make
it's
any
a cool
claim?
table? Actually,
it is a cool table. It was a gift. It was a gift from my family.
Beautiful.
It's the old Yankee Stadium, which I like the old Yankee Stadium more than the new Yankee Stadium. The old Yankee Stadium. You look out the back, and it's the same view that Gehrig and DiMaggio and Babe Ruth, they all saw the same thing, and it had this wonderful quality of making you suffer. It smelled like urine and old hot dogs. And the new place is just too.
Smells just like a hot dog.
It's too fancy. No, it smells like people who want to collect a lot of your money. That's what
exactly.
What it is.
No knot holes there.
Yeah, no knot holes there. So let's talk about this Christmas show, if you want to call it a Christmas show or whatever. That sounds fascinating. So basically, this is sort of like two guys one-upping each other. Is that what?
Yeah, that's what. Well, yeah, it's my friend wasn't ever trying to one up me. I was just insecure, It was just
okay.
I would honestly, the day I lost my job at Gannett, I came home and there was the letter.
Well, it's a better title, A Christmas Letter, than my overly sensitive nature.
My vindictive.
Okay.
No, it was just we got it every year, and it was very detailed.
Okay.
And like I said, he's a great guy. We've known each other since his sister was my pen pal, actually. And I went over to visit when I was 16. They invited me over. I met him. The next thing I know, I'm over in his wedding as an usher. Then I was over for her wedding, and then we came over for his 50th birthday party, which was like unlike anything you've ever been to. It was crazy. I mean, my wife literally sat next to two gentlemen by the name of a Guy, so she sat between two guys. And
there you go.
But this was during the whole Goldman Sachs thing too, back in 2008, and I sat next to this guy who was really up. I mean, these people were high level executives, and I'm hearing all this stuff before it all came down. It was really weird. I was totally a fish out of water there, and so that's kind of where some of the story comes from. All the sort of his life, my life, and what the juxtaposition of wealth versus kind of a pedestrian life.
Yeah, and the atmosphere over there. I've been to Europe and England a couple of times. Is that they think there'll be a tomorrow? We don't think there's going to be a tomorrow. So their view of the world is a little bit different than ours anyway.
Yeah, plus, anyone who lives in Europe, England, whatever, I think I just find them way more, not educated, but just
no, they have a sense of time. I mean, I had a friend of mine, and he was from England, and we were going to go take a tour of I guess it was the Grove Park Inn or the Grove, whatever it was. It was Vanderbilt's mansion in Asheville. And said, well, why do you want to go see that? And he says, well,
the Biltmore?
Yeah, Biltmore, that's what it was. And it was built in, I said, well, it was built in 1860. He says, my boarding school was,
yeah, right.
It was 14. This is like new construction for me.
Exactly,
why do I need to go there?
They're just more worldly, more cultured. They appreciate other cultures more than we do, I think, because we're we're locked by the ocean. We don't, most Americans don't get out of the country.
Okay, so what can you tell me without tipping too much about this? I mean, now, where is it going to be on TV? Is it
going to be
is it a feature movie? Or?
Yeah, it's a feature movie.
Wow.
Matter of fact, we've got I can't say too much, but our sales agent went to Cannes, which was really kind of funny. I had no idea they were taking there was a rough cut trailer they brought over, and they shopped it around, and every country that was represented at Cannes wants this film. And even Germany and France, which don't normally like American Christmas films.
Wow!
And so we have one distributor in particular. I can't go into too much detail. I only know what they told me, but it could be a really big deal. And so we're waiting on that. We just have to finish the film. There's a lot of post-production still going on.
The feeling that I have, I'm not being facetious, is I'm talking to somebody who this could be like a Christmas story. I mean, this could be something that lives on and on and on and on. That's if properly done and with the right type of humor, this could go on and on and on and on.
It started off as a very small project. It's still relatively, I can't get into numbers, but by Hollywood standards, we're nowhere near what they would spend on. Like Christmas Vacation itself back in 1989, I think, or whatever, 88, was $25 million budget. So we're.
But a Christmas Story couldn't have been. I mean, none of them. That couldn't have been that.
No, so we are. It's kind of took a life.
So how do you, excuse me for interrupting, but how do you find them or do they find you? I mean, how do you? I mean, so you write this story.
So I write the story
without writing it for somebody, right? No. You're writing it for yourself, okay?
For myself.
So you have this thing, this asset, this product, and how do you get somebody interested in that?
So you just knock on doors and shop around, but there's a site called inktip.com for any writers out there that want to get their stuff in front of producers and all that. You pay a monthly fee, and basically you put up your log line, which is your 60-word rundown of your script. Then you put up a synopsis, which is maybe about a page and a half, and then you upload your script. And so if someone wants to read your script, that's a great thing, and then you can get in touch with them. They allow you to get in touch with them. If they only read the synopsis or the log line, then you see that there's people looking at it, but no interest. But so this gentleman, Angus Benfield of Lama Entertainment, contacted me on, of all days, Father's Day of 2022, right to the very day and date, 11 years prior, my dad had passed away. So I really felt like my dad had a hand in that. He picked it up. Then the whole thing with Chevy Chase and Randy Quaid and Brian Doyle Murray was a really weird thing. One of the big things I was doing, I did all the location scouting myself. I did all that. It's filmed in Utica and Mohawk Valley because that's where I'm from. And I always wanted to, if I ever had the good fortune of something like this happening, I wanted to go down there. So I scouted all around there. And one of the reasons I stayed there was mostly because Griffiths Air Force Base had planes up there. And one of the things, I'll let you interject. I see you got something on your mind. I don't know what it is.
No. The way my strange mind works, it's like, well, I scouted all the all the locations ahead of time, and I'm going, wow, London. Who paid for that?
Right.
No. It's Utica.
No, but you know what?
Okay.
But I'll tell you one thing though. I mean, I know where you're coming from, but to scout a film is an arduous task because you've got to find. I wrote all these scenes, and then you have to figure out, well, how's that going to work? How's that going to work?
Okay.
Where can we go? One of the things was getting on a commercial airliner, and I found out that Griffiths Air Force Base had a company up there. Now it's a tech park that refurbished and tore down planes, and so they had commercial airliners that we could film on. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to do that there.
Now we're running long because I was such an idiot there and interrupting you because of Utica. Yeah. Okay.
I'll say one thing quick. Utica, I was really surprised having come from there and come back. It's unbelievable what they've done there. It's really coming around. It's crazy.
Oh, beautiful people. We'll be right back after this. This is Dom for my friend Jim Shelley and his Fanatics Pub and Blue Stage in Lyman, New York. Like I say, a short scoot down 390 to exit 10, make a left at the light. A couple of miles down the road, there's Fanatics Pub and Blue Stage. You can see their nightly shows by going to fanaticspub.com, but this time of the year, his patio is open for free entertainment 3 to 6 on weekends. Go! It's a great place. This portion of the show is brought to you by Martinizing Dry Cleaners in Fairport. During COVID days, I discovered a dry cleaner that would pick up and deliver. I discovered Martinizing in Fairport. I later discovered that the owner, Todd, was an ex-corporate employee who went on to start his own business just like I did, and his customer service is beyond compare. Google rating 4.9 with 143 reviews. 4.9. Call 425-4242 or martinizing.com/Fairport. Welcome back. You're listening to the No Nonsense Roundtable. We're talking to Michael Cunningham, who very interesting guy. I mean, I keep on peeling back levels of Michael and get more of this onion, although you're not making me cry yet.
The older I get, I smell like one too.
Smell like one too. Yeah. I say about me. I say it all the time: a voice for radio and a face to match. But
right.
The thing that we're talking about, the most extraordinary thing, is that he is the screenwriter for a feature film that's going to be coming out this fall, and it's called The Letter. And it's a fascinating concept to begin with, but you also have a couple of really great talents that people are going to recognize. The name is Chevy Chase, and I have a brain cramp.
That's all right. I will help you out there. It's called The Christmas Letter.
Christmas Letter.
And the Chevy Chase angle, I can. Yeah. The whole that whole thing is an interesting story.
And Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid.
That's my brain cramp.
Yeah, and Brian Dill Murray. And so when I was talking about filming in Utica, one of the reasons we did was originally just because of the Griffiths Air Force Base, and they had airplanes. I had a scene on an airplane, and they one company they refurbished or tore down retiring planes, and they had all these Airbus planes, and it's like, this is great. It's in a hangar. We can bus up people to be extras in there and get them on the plane. Well, September rolls around. This is January 2023. September rolls around, and the company's left, and we have no planes. So then I start searching around for planes and where could maybe alternatives for airports and stuff like that. I call the guy at the Buffalo Film Commission, just a fluke call, and he's trying to help me out with the airport and the plane stuff. And he says, what are you working on? I said, well, this and that. And he goes, who you got in there? I said, well, we're trying to get Chevy Chase, but he's too expensive. And he's like, you know what? And he gave me a little piece. I can't really say what he told me, but he gave me a little nugget of information that was like, that my producer, Angus, didn't know anything about. And because he was friends with Chevy Chase's agent. And I said, why don't you run that past him? And that little random phone call to the Buffalo Film Commission gave us the idea to pitch him on that, and they agree with it, love the idea. He signs on. Next thing you know, Randy Quaid's like, I want to do something with Chevy again. He signs on, and then Brian Dill Murray's like, what the hell? And so they all came on, and it was just a fluke phone call, really, and that it was in place, kind of, because Angus was friends with his agent, but then. Without that piece of information, I don't think it would have happened.
The incredible randomness of life. So you were specifically looking for a plane that was on the ground. Yeah. And everything of calling Boeing. I mean, they have hundreds that are on the ground, and although maybe you want ones with doors.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, we would be staying on the ground.
Yeah, on the ground.
There'd be no simulations.
You're filming Randy Quaid, and there's a hole in the side.
Yeah, right.
Side of the plane.
We're sorry we got sucked out.
Yeah.
No, it's ironically, my sister worked for Alaska Airlines for.
Aren't they the ones where the
first one
where the top
door
fell off? And
no, that was the door. I think Hawaii.
No, it was the top. No, it's Hawaii. Okay,
Hawaii.
Yeah,
that was a long time ago. Hawaiian Airlines. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I don't know why I have this fascination with air. They have shows on TV about disasters, and why do I tune into these things? But yeah, I think I saw that one.
It's funny. I have a funny story about that because my father-in-law, wonderful guy, just a wonderful guy. He is just a beautiful human being. And I talked to him one day, and I says, I said, you are living in Alabama. Why don't you come here? And I said, but I'll pay for the plane tickets. She goes, no. He says, I want to drive. I said, well, I'll pay for the plane tickets. I can do that. You and Mom can fly, and you can. No, I don't want to do that. I go, you're not afraid of flying, are you? He goes, no, it's the crashing part. The crashing part. I'm afraid of. Yeah. Oh, God Almighty! What a great guy. He was sort of like a Yogi Berra, type. Right. The wisdom in what he was saying. But you could work that. You could work that in. I'll sell that line to you. And your next, your next thing.
The sequel.
Yeah, the sequel to this. Well, I guess your greatest hope would be that, this thing catches on like a Christmas story or something and starts being a legacy thing that, your children, the one of each, can split for the rest of their lives.
There is a little bit, if someone's out there that wants to write screenplays, there is a little bit of, you have to kind of think about the market as well, because I think the story was always there, but I did think, well, this is, a Christmas movie. People watch them over and over and over and over and over and over again during the holidays.
Right.
And I thought, commercially at least, and for any kind of residuals down the road, it could be a good thing. And so that's really, and we have a lot going for it. We got these guys' names in there. It's a holiday film. And again, now with all the different streaming platforms, these things will be played over.
Well,
and
you got to be careful with that because you don't want it to be too childish, and you don't want it to be, making social statements with it. It's got to be. No. I guess if I was to guess, I think the thing that you want is it to be entertaining.
Yeah, it's filled with crazy stuff. Because I picked up a lot of the stuff that happened to me when I was like. It jumps off of when I got let go from my job. This whole thing I say is my life exaggerated. It really is. It's way exaggerated. But but there are certain lines that were said to me. When I was let go that I've included in there, which were funny, I thought, and just scenarios and just I don't know, just bits and pieces of my life, just kind of crammed together into a story, and it's absurdist comedy, I guess.
So when will the first showing be, you think?
So we're looking to, since we filmed it all down there, there's a beautiful theater called the Stanley Theater. It's like an iconic, matter of fact, a lot of the design staircase, the architect had designed, well, you don't want to say this, it doesn't mean anything, but he designed a staircase based on the Titanic's staircase. So yeah,
wow, there's a good omen for you.
I saw Leo DiCaprio at the top of the steps.
Yeah, there you go.
Rose, you're so stupid. Whatever. But no, but that's where we're gonna do the premiere at the Stanley Theater. He could have fit on that door, right? He could have fit on that door.
That's right.
Rose didn't let him up on that door. That was
well.
What kind of person?
Yeah.
There's plenty of room up here. Yeah. But anyway, it's going to be at the Stanley. We're hoping to. That's the plan to premiere at the Stanley Theater, probably at the holiday times, Thanksgiving.
And you said down there, and you meant Utica.
Yeah,
You're a copywriting guy.
I know. Yeah.
Now, do you have a website or something that people can?
I don't.
You don't have a website?
Personally, no.
Would you like to buy one?
Yeah. I could probably. The funny thing is I've topped off on. It's really weird. I used to be the guy on top of every kind of technology, not that websites or technology, but after a period of time, I just went.
No. There's a reason for that. It's your aging. Yeah. Seriously, God's honest truth.
Get off my lawn.
As you age. My parents had a VCR.
You don't give a crap. Yeah.
No. My parents had a VCR that flashed 12 all the time because they couldn't do, now, we're at an age now with the younger people. You need a Sherpa. That's what you need. You need like a 20 or 30-year-old person to guide you through this. And I have a couple of young people that help me through this because I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, it's not that I don't know what I'm doing. It's just like I've got.
No, you don't.
I always say
no. You don't. You just admitted you don't. You don't know what you do.
I do. I do.
I know.
It's just that.
What, are we getting married?
You know what? Well, you know what it is. You know what it is, Dom. It's this. It's like I'm 61 now, and all of a sudden you realize. Yes.
No, I want the one. Needs 1 minute left. Okay, go ahead.
All of a sudden you realize though, like this moment right here, you're running out of time, right? Like this moment right here, I'm running out of time.
No.
But in life, you're saying I've got a lot of stuff I want to do.
Well,
and I can't spend it on this. Or
no,
that.
This is what I'm doing. Not if I mentioned this on the show before or not. I am pretending that I'm going to live forever, and I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to be wrong one day. That's it. I mean, out of all the days ahead of me, I'm going to be wrong one day, and the rest of it, I'm just going to say, well, I'm going to be the guy that lives to be, 750.
So I should spend the time building a website, and if I have a heart attack in the middle of it, then I at least did it.
I could do that website thing for you.
We'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk. Okay, and we have to stop talking because we're at the end of our show. It's been delightful meeting you.
You too, John.
I tell you, you are you're a hoot. The best thing you can do in my world, you can do one of two things: either a regular guy, a regular girl, or a hoot. And if you're a regular guy and a hoot. You've reached the pinnacle. You've gotten my seal of approval. So with that, we're going to say we'll see everybody next week, same time, same place, right here at the No Nonsense Roundtable.
Thanks for listening. Tune in every Saturday from 10 to 11 on News Radio Wham 1180. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll make more.